Macaulay Culkin was one of my favorite child actors when I was a youngin'. And well, after doing films like Home Alone and its sequel and My Girl, some of his later films kind of were well hit or miss, and but they've all gotten distant. Why have you know like Richie Rich and The Page Master, and heck, even Getting Even with That. And well, there's this one flick he did that I know didn't get a lot of respect and what have you. And I don't think much of any YouTubers out there have reviewed this. Well, get ready because that's going to change. I'm going to review The Good Son. But is it really that bad after 30 years? Or can I prove to them that evil does have many faces and give this film some good old fashioned Big D justice? Find out right now. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1993 psychological thriller The Good Son, released by Fox, directed by Joseph Rubin, written by English novelist Ian McEwan. The film stars, the film stars Macaulay Culkin as the titular character, along with Elijah Wood, Wendy Crewson, David Morse, Daniel Hugh Kelly, and Jacqueline Brookes. And also Culkin's kid sister, Quinn. The story follows a young boy named Mark who, after the death of his mother, is sent to stay with his aunt and uncle while his father is away on business, and there he meets his cousin who shows signs of violent and evil behavior. This film was actually released this day, September 24th, 1993. Henceforth, today's the film's 30th anniversary. Joseph Rubin, who directed this film, also co-produced the film with Mary Ann Page. Now, of course, the film was released by Fox, who also did, well, two of Culkin's recent hits, Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. But it got heavily dissed, though, but it did fine and what have you. So, since it did fine against its $17 million budget, I'll go ahead and give you the story. 12-year-old Mark Evans has recently experienced the death of his mother, Janice. Before leaving on a business trip to Tokyo, Mark's father, Jack, transports him from Arizona to his Uncle Wallace and Aunt Susan's house in Maine, where he will stay during winter break. Mark is reintroduced after a decade to his extended family, including his cousins Connie and Henry. Mark and Henry get along initially, and Henry seems to be nice and well-mannered. However, Henry displays an abnormal fascination with death, making Mark feel uneasy. Henry begins to display psychopathic behavior, which Mark is unable to address to Wallace and Susan due to Henry's threats. One of his violent actions is throwing a dummy he calls Mr. Highway off a bridge and onto a highway, causing a massive vehicle pileup. He then plans to kill Connie. Afraid something might happen to her, Mark spends the night in her room. The next morning, Mark awakens to find Henry has taken Connie ice skating, and at the pond, Henry purposely throws her towards thin ice, which collapses. Kaya is rescued but ends up in a coma. Even though Susan does not initially believe Mark, she becomes suspicious and interrupts Henry's attempt to suffocate Kaya in her hospital bed. Susan then finds a rubber duck that Henry has hidden in his shed. It had once belonged to Henry's younger brother Richard and had been with him in the bathtub the night he drowned. The duck went missing after. When Susan confronts Henry, he coldly reminds her that the toy had belonged to him first. He then flips and kindly asks for the rubber duck back. After a violent tug of war, he takes the toy and throws it down the well. Now I'm going to give you the final act and ending right now. You know the procedure. At 5 seconds to stop this video, go to the description box below, fast forward to the time below. As I'm counting down, if you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. As Susan and Mark grow closer, Henry insinuates that he will kill Susan rather than let Mark continue to develop a relationship with her. When a fight breaks out between the two boys, Wallace locks Mark in the den. Henry asks a suspicious Susan to go for a walk with him. While Mark escapes and chases after them, Susan confronts Henry, asking him if he killed Richard, to which Henry sarcastically replies, "What if I did?" Susan realizes that Mark was right about her son's true nature. She tells Henry that he needs help, but he refuses and flees. Susan gives chase, and upon arriving at a cliff, Henry pushes her over the edge. As Susan dangles from a branch on the cliffside, Henry picks up a large rock to drop on her, but Mark tackles him. Susan manages to climb back up just in time to grab hold of the boys as they roll over the edge, one in each hand. Henry holds on with both hands, but Mark's one handed grip begins to slip. With only enough strength to save one of them, Susan releases Henry and he falls to his death. Susan pulls Mark up and they look down as Henry's corpse is washed away into the ocean. When Mark returns home to Arizona, he reflects upon Susan's choice to save him instead of Henry. He wonders if she would make the same choice again, but knows it is something that he will never ask her. End of story. So, what did I think of The Good Son? Well, I've seen it a few times, and well, it's all right and what have you. It's a pretty fair drama and what have you, with a little thriller and what have you. Now then, let's see here. Well, when it was released, it did well in the US, making 44 million and 15 overseas. In their or other territories, going on to make 60 million worldwide. Well, as of last year, Rotten Tomatoes has this film at a mere 25%, saying that the film is never good enough to live up to its unsettling potential, failing to drum up much suspense and unable to make Macaulay Culkin a credible psychopath. Well, true. I mean, it doesn't give too much suspense. It does at times, especially the ice skating scene. That almost kind of reminded me of, well, what happened to Mr. Atherton in Damien Omen 2. But however, that was another story, you know. And while this film was rated R and what have you, Roger Ebert, of course, deemed the film inappropriate for kids, a warrior half a star, calling this a creepy, unpleasant experience. He and Gene Siskel later gave it 2 thumbs down. And many critics criticized the cast of Culkin because of his comedic image in Home Alone. And even though he recently appeared in the dramedy flick of coming of age dramedy My Girl a couple of years before this, well, hate to say it, but the Washington Post stated that the mere presence of the adorable boy star seems to throw the whole film out of whack, making the picture play more like an inadvertent comedy than a thriller. And the New York Times wrote that the end sequence at the cliff is one of its few suspenseful and original moments, and is quite literally gripping. I agree. That was pretty suspenseful. And the Morning Call described this film as Home Alone meets Misery meets The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Culkin was nominated for Best Villain at the MTV Movie Awards, but lost that. The film was nominated at the Saturn Awards. It was nominated for Best Horror Film, but it lost that award. But however, Elijah Wood won Best Performance by a Younger Actor. And John Kenneth Muir, in Horror Films of the 1990s, wrote that the main difference between this and The Bad Seed, which I've never seen that, but I've heard of it though, was that the mother character ends Henry's bad conduct, while in the latter, the mother is unable to stop the character, wrote a pen mark. Again, I've never seen The Bad Seed before. If I happen to encounter it, I'll look into it. So anyway, yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag to me, The Good Son, but well, it's alright and what have you. Now, as for our cast, we have Macaulay Culkin playing Henry, and I gotta tell you, you may think he looks good, but, well, once you see what he does, yeah. Elijah Wood, making one of his early appearances, plays Mark, and he's pretty good. Wendy Crewson plays Susan, she's good. David Morse plays Jack, Evans, of course, that's Mark's dad. And Hugh Kelly plays Wallace. Let's see. And Jacqueline Brookes plays Alice Davenport, who I believe is a psychiatrist, a therapist, or something like that. And Quinn Culkin, of course, that's Macaulay Culkin's real life kid sister, played Connie. Ashley Crowe played Janice Evans. While, though only pictured only, Rory Culkin, another one of Macaulay's younger siblings, played Richard Evans, but it was pictured, not he wasn't seeing the movie, just in a picture. And that's it. Again, The Good Son, well, despite its flaws and what have you, it's an okay film and what have you. Let's see. Also, it has a score from Elmer Bernstein. George Bowers was the editor. Apologies. Elmer Bernstein did the score for the film, and that was pretty decent enough. But anyway, so I can't factually defend this film 100%, but it's, well, a fairly good film and what have you. But would I recommend it? Well, I'd say play it safe, give it a one-time watch. Okay? I mean, if you're into those killer kids flicks and what have you that came out before this, like The Omen or maybe films like Blade Birthday or Children of the Corn, I think you might feel fine with The Good Son. But if you're not, then I'd say avoid it. So it's a draw between give it a one-time watch or avoid it. You be the judge. But what did you think of The Good Son? Let me know in the comments section below. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Now, there is a slight change of plans. Now, next time I'll be giving you my spoiler-free review of the brand new Spy Kids Armageddon. Now, don't you worry, which will be coming out tomorrow morning. But I'm still going to give you my review of My Hero Academia 2 Heroes later on tomorrow night. So you'll get 2 vids. I've also done some other changes. I'll be right back and I'll tell you. Okay, I was just checking. And on the 27th, you will get a review of the new Hulu film called, well, No One Will Save You. And of course, I'm still got the others are still the same. He-Man's coming up on Tuesday, and Thursday, of course, will be the TMNT Turtles in Time video game review and the Masters of the Universe movie review. Okay, so stay tuned for those this week. So I hope you liked this, and if you did, consider checking out my reviews for these other films and what have you that I sort of compared this to in ways. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of The Omen from 1976, or go to the upper right-hand corner and see my review of its sequel, Damien Omen 2 from 1978. Or if you'd like maybe something a little more lighthearted with Macaulay Culkin, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my review of My Girl. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.